Welcome to another Murphy, Sam, and Jodi After the Show podcast.
We were talking earlier today about the weighted blanket, and I surprisingly liked it. Not that I want one. Like Phoebe has one now, Murph, and she is in love with it. It was a win. I got under it, and I was so surprised because it sounded horrible to me. I didn't want to, I like light covers. I like to slip my leg out from under the covers. That's heaven.
I had heard that these were great, and it's the same concept as the, what is it called? The Thunder Jacket for dogs? Is that what it's called? What is that thing called?
Yeah. Thunder shirt.
Thunder shirt.
It's not a Thunder Jacket?
Well, it's a Thunder shirt in the summer.
I used to wear that to the club.
Your Thunder Jacket. No, but it's the same basic concept where the weight that's supposed to be, is instinctive the right word? Where you when you were in the womb, basically, that sort of security blanket tightness, the swaddling, right, is supposedly one of the reasons that blanket makes you feel
it's supposed to help calm
no matter
your
your
nerves.
age.
It makes you feel like you're being held or hugged. And especially when it comes to sleep for me, I feel like, I like this. I don't know, I like the light covers.
Yeah.
I like a foot out, whatever. So I thought that's horrible. That would seem horrible to me. Mm-hmm. Phoebe brought it in and laid it across me. And it's so evenly distributed, the weight. It was lovely. I immediately was like, oh, I get it. It felt so comforting. Mm-hmm. It felt comforting. That's the way it felt. Murphy was immediate. And I knew they were going to put it on you, too. And they laid it across you. And literally 30 seconds in, you said...
No, I just said, it wasn't like panic. I just was not comfortable. I didn't like it.
Feeling claustrophobic.
It was stifling.
And so we started talking about claustrophobia, but we didn't really go there, and I want to go there. It's weird to me. I wonder, are you born like with a tendency to be claustrophobic, or does it happen to you in life that you
could be a traumatic moment and sets it off?
You find yourself in small spaces and or someone suggests to you that small spaces are scary, so you start to adopt that. I just wonder. I guess
it could be a combination of all of them. I think that. Maybe people who are control freaks are more prone to claustrophobia because you feel out of control. I don't know. I'm speculating. I'm not a pro at this, so
speculating. You have been that way though since I've known you, Murph.
Mm-hmm. A control freak, or
yeah, both. I've always been that way, but I don't know that it was any event or one thing.
You can't trace it back.
On the playground, I never liked when people would pile on top of me and I couldn't move. I couldn't stand that, being sat on. Never had that happen to you, did you? But, just rough, boys playing rough like you do. Everybody
you
tackles.
End up at the bottom of a football.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've never had that happen, but when I see it happen at football games where, somebody does the great play and the whole team jumps on them, I don't think celebration. I think, God, they got to give that guy a break. He can't breathe. He's probably crushing his ribs.
Yeah, but they're padded up. They've got pads and helmets, though. They're used to that, right? You remember that. You got to remember that.
Yeah,
the padding and all that.
I don't see myself as super claustrophobic because I can get into situations, but if I start mentally picturing certain things.
How much of it is in your mind, I wonder?
Our friend Austin, I don't know if you remember this, but years ago, 10, 15 years ago, our friend Austin did one of these radio promotions where he was buried alive in a coffin, remember?
Oh, that's right.
For 24
First of all,
hours
that's
or a weekend.
Ridiculous.
And he had a VCR in there or, DVD player.
Okay, keep selling this story.
Air was pumped in, but it's just when I went to see him and you look down the tube and it's like, no. And you just start getting itchy and stuff. And it's
That's different.
I don't have claustrophobia that I know of, but seeing that, it's like.
It's a tight space.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the only one that really jumps out at me is the MRI. The one time that I tried to have an MRI, I just could not. And they gave me Valium. I still couldn't do it.
Wow.
If I have to get a true closed MRI, somebody's going to have to knock me out because even the open MRIs, when something is that close to my face, I cannot deal with it. And
is it about breath?
Yeah, I don't know. If it's right there and I open my eyes, it's over. If I close my eyes, I think I'm okay. But I can remember what was it? It was one lab test that I had that was not closed at all, but it was whatever it was revolved around me.
Right.
And I don't mean a CAT scan. But even those I've got to be careful of because for whatever reason, at some point in the CAT scan, I've got to talk myself out of it. But
really,
I just do not like it's the face
I
proximity.
hate that for
thing,
you. I hate that for you. But that's so very human and real, and you have to be honest with your medical people about it.
Yeah.
You really do need to. There is something I read a long time ago, and it makes sense that I'm not going to repeat it exactly, obviously, but there is something very instinctive for all of us as human beings to protect our eyes and our mouth. If something's coming at you, you're going to protect your eyes and your mouth. So that's why you feel so vulnerable when you go to the dentist and you lay back and you open up your mouth. You're so vulnerable.
That makes a lot of sense to me. There are things that we're probably not conscious of that have just evolved over the years, thousands of years, that you
that you do.
It's an automatic response, I
think it's the helplessness for me that gets it, because like when they do certain movies where somebody was buried alive, or okay, apparently I'm hooked on Buried Alive.
Were you also scared of quicksand?
Oh yeah,
when you were a kid.
You know what? I was deathly afraid of quicksand when I was a kid. Never came across it in my life.
Right.
And it
was only on late 1970s TV.
In the movies, oh my God, quicksand. What will I do if I ever hit quicksand? I've never hit quicksand.
The tricks of don't move too much.
But is that even real?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's real. Absolutely, it's real.
You had quicksand?
No, I've never experienced it, but it's a very real thing because if you've ever been to the beach and water and sand together, eventually the water drains out of it. That's really what quicksand is, a wet area that if the water then drains out, you can't move. As kids, we would play around and dig really big holes in the sand, and then the sand would start to cave in on you.
Yeah, but that's
that's really it's dangerous.
You can't move, but quicksand in the movies
takes you way down.
You got sucked under, and you don't know how far that went.
Yeah, maybe they exaggerated it some, but I've heard. Quicksand's a real thing. It's not. I don't think it's something that's in the U.S.
It's not down the street.
Another thing I'm going to have to Google because I don't really remember where quicksand exists.
Me either.
Speaking of Googling, a quick Google search that I did, obviously claustrophobia can be brought on by a traumatic event. But they also say that it is hereditary. There is a specific gene that it can run in families.
Well, I've got the gene, I guess.
Super interesting. Super interesting. Wow. I have never yet had any situation to make me feel claustrophobic, Murph. And you would know with us being married. But
even in tight in a car with a bunch of people or an elevator maybe?
No, I've never had a situation where I've been claustrophobic yet in my life. I've been so lucky medically so far. I've never had to have an MRI. I've never been scheduled for any sort of test like that.
Yeah.
Ever. So when you called me that day on the way home from the MRI that didn't happen, I empathized with you, but I couldn't understand.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, maybe I should try it and see.
Well,
because
they give you a button on a cord, and so when the tray goes in, and head first, because the MRI, they were checking out my head, not anything else. So I had to go in head first. But you have a little button that you can push, and as soon as they rolled me in, I even had headphones and I'm listening to music. And as soon as they rolled it in, boom, I hit that button.
I hate that for you.
I came out, I'm like, okay, wait, give me a second. I'm just going to compose myself. He's like, yeah, man, look, just don't open your eyes. It will be okay if you close your eyes. This is going to be 25 minutes, which that was the part
Lord.
of it too.
That's forever.
It was going to take 25 minutes, and I'm like, okay, well, let me just see. Maybe if I'm just listening to music, that's going to be about 6 songs, and I can do that. And so he put me back in. As soon as I got back in, pushing the button, he's back out. And I'm like, dude, I am so sorry. I feel silly. He's like, trust me, it happens all the time.
And it adds you're embarrassed, and you shouldn't have been.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a little embarrassed because I would
being.
like to be able to contain that, but my brain just runs away with me.
Here's another thing: when we fly, I always and I'll trade you for the window seat. I want the window seat.
Yeah.
I read recently where that it's fewer germs in the window seat, fewer people getting up and down. It's more comfortable. The window is more comfortable because you can kind of cocoon yourself off from everything. And it's true. I don't get up unless I have to on a plane because I just find it disruptive and inconvenient. But the person on the outside, everybody's walking past you. Here comes the cart.
Yeah, I've lost kneecaps to carts so many times.
And as much as you, Sam, don't like to interact with people, I'm surprised you don't cocoon yourself into the window seat. I love the window seat.
I don't like the window seat, not for claustrophobia. It's just too.
You're too tall for that.
I'm tall, and then it curves.
Yeah, it does curve.
Whereas if I sit on the aisle seat, I got open on both sides. And
I see.
Elbow room, stretch the legs out.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I mean, some people would feel claustrophobic in a nice little cocoon on a plane, but I love it.
Well, I used to love window seats because I would look out the window, and I do love that. I mean, I really love.
You like to watch the sky.
I don't ever, as many times as I've flown, I don't get tired of looking out the window. But I do like to spread out a little bit more because some of these smaller planes, especially, I would rather be.
Well,
on
you
the
need
aisle.
first class, sir. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah, okay. So I looked up. Quicksand is a real thing, Sam. It is. Tar pits are a real thing. All those things that were in the cartoons that used to suck people in, they're real things.
But
where in the world is quicksand?
Has quicksand ever sucked anybody down like in the movies though, or is it just like you said at the beach? It just keeps you immobile.
Yeah. Are there places where quicksand is more?
Well, it's in the jungle, obviously. Everybody knows.
It's on the Fall Guy.
A human is unlikely to sink entirely into quicksand due to the higher density of the fluid, but if continued movement or panic movement could cause somebody to sink further into quicksand, and since that impairs movement, it could lead to a situation where then you're trapped, you can't move, and then the exposure to the other elements are a problem. So yeah. I still would
trapped
be
and can't move. That would mess you up, Murph.
It's hysterical though, because as a kid, when you saw it, you're like, "My God, how am I ever going to know if I come across one of these?" Because it seemed like
there's a branch handy.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't there quicksand on Gilligan's Island at some point?
There was quicksand on
everywhere.
everything.
There was a shtick.
I guess it was a
in late
shtick.
1970s, early 1980s TV, which was our TV. The only show that didn't have quicksand was Three's Company.
I need to Google this and find out where the quicksand is.
Yeah, the Wikipedia entry here doesn't say anything about that.
Okay.